Earth's atmosphere never felt quite the same after you've breathed the recycled ion-laced air of the Grand Celestial Colosseum. That was one of the many things 11-year-old Kira Madden had learned in the months since she accidentally shattered the galactic order. She had also learned that the smell of plasma-scorched fur wasn't something you forgot easily, or that politicians, human or otherwise, were terrified of smart children. Especially ones who had turned a death sentence into a revolution. Back home in Detroit, Kira had really tried to go back to normal. School, robotics club, gymnastics practice. But normal was an illusion. Her science teacher stammered every time she asked a question. Her former classmates avoided her in hallways. Even the government agents parked in unmarked vans outside her apartment were more obvious than they thought. Everyone treated her like a bomb that hadn't gone off yet. They weren't wrong. In orbit aboard a cloaked Zixian diplomatic cruiser, Sub-Commander Lorax was watching Kira eat cereal. "This is the child?" hissed the ambassador beside him. "She does not look like a level 9 diplomatic threat." Lorax didn't reply. He had rewatched her footage over 200 times. The duct escape, the predator charge, the Kronos wolf. Sitting, she had become a symbol. But worse, she had become a problem. After her victory, dozens of minor species had started questioning Zixian authority. Protests flared. Border colonies declared neutrality. In some systems, children reenacted her arena run like it was a festival game. And now, reports were coming in. An interstellar insurgency was forming, and its mascot was a girl who beat the unbeatable. At 3:17 p.m. Earth time, as Kira was finishing her third bowl of cereal, the sky turned orange. It wasn't a sunset. It was a breach. 3 unregistered crafts burst through the upper stratosphere, dropping below radar. One slammed into the sea off the east coast, another vanished over the Rockies. The third? It came to rest half a mile from Kira's school. Within 20 minutes, the street outside her building was swarming. Not with tanks, with diplomats. Zixian, Turan, even plebeian representatives, all wearing ceremonial silk, waving translation drones, and begging her to speak. They weren't here to attack. They were here to ask. Kira met them in the parking lot wearing a hoodie, jeans, and scuffed sneakers. No guards, no armor. She had a lollipop in her mouth and a wrench in one hand. She'd been halfway through rebuilding a drone in her room. "What?" she asked, blinking at the ambassadorial circus. "Is this?" "Peace," said the Zixian first. "No protection," said a lithoid governor stepping forward. "A coalition is forming. They plan to destroy Earth or enslave it. To erase what you've done, you need to leave with us, immediately." Kira stared. She pulled the lollipop out of her mouth. "Wait, someone's mad because I didn't die?" Above them, invisible to human satellites, an alliance of ancient empires had gathered. The Zilani Dominion, the Krelvac warlords, the exiled remnants of the Threxel Tribunal, all of them furious, not just because a child had beaten the arena, because the Galactic Core was listening to humans now, and worse, emulating them. If they didn't crush the message, the entire political structure of the galaxy would collapse. So they had built a new arena. This one wasn't for games, it was for war. That night, in a hastily convened UN meeting lit by pale fluorescence and growing dread, Kira sat alone at the end of a long polished table. Her hands were still sticky from candy. "I don't want war," she said. "You don't have a choice," replied the US Secretary of Defense. "They're not just coming for Earth," added a European diplomat. "They're coming for you." A map flickered to life behind them. Red points expanded like cancer across the starfield. She stared for a long time. Then she smiled. Then let's go play. Chapter 2. The War They Never Wanted Her to Fight. They called it the second arena, but this one had no spectators, no applause, and no rules. Orbiting the dead world of Vortanis 4, the newly constructed combat cradle was designed not as a spectacle, but as a message. Cold metal, cruel geometry, jagged spires designed by the Threxel, a species that had long believed aesthetics should hurt. It was the opposite of everything Kira Madden had turned the arena into. Now, they were planning to undo her. The Alliance of Retaliation 12 Empires, 5 extinct species resurrected through biotech necromancy. One mission: crush Earth's influence, humiliate the girl, reassert galactic hierarchy. They didn't just want her dead, they wanted her discredited. The Threxel counselor had said it best during the War Summit: she smiles and the galaxy obeys. We must make her scream. Back on Earth, the UN had collapsed into barely controlled chaos. Kira's parents, reluctantly evacuated under diplomatic protection, were now living in a lunar bubble with 24-hour psychic shielding. Every high-level human official had been briefed. Every planet-side population warned. But no one, not even Earth's generals, knew how to fight this war. Except Kira. She stood in the control center of UNSS Hightower, Earth's first hybrid ship, built from Zixian tech, human improvisation, and plebeian logic algorithms, which honestly made no sense but somehow worked. She wore a pilot suit several sizes too big and had repurposed the control interface to display like a gaming console. Most kids would be in school, said Commander Naomi Reyes, watching the girl calibrate orbital jump trajectories while eating gummy worms. Most kids don't have a fan club of pissed-off alien empires, Kira replied. She tapped the controls. Set warp vector 44387 by 007. Drop us outside Vortanis. Let's see what they've built. The Ghost Fleet. What they found wasn't an army. It was a graveyard made of teeth. 34 ships, all fused together. Bones of long-dead leviathans lining their hulls. Plasma scars burning blue across dark metal. And in the center, the second arena. Orbiting Vortanis, pulsing with energy. But something felt off. They're not responding to scans, muttered Reyes. They're not cloaked, they're waiting. They want us to come in, Kira said. Why? To film it. Her voice was cold. They want the galaxy to see me fail. She pulled up a data burst. It was already broadcasting system-wide. The human girl returns. This time she dies. Boarding the beast. They entered through an auxiliary vent, her idea, of course. Kira led the strike team, flanked by Earth's best Marines and 3 diplomatic observers who were somehow both terrified of her and desperate to impress her. Inside, the arena was eerily familiar. Shifting floors, phase fields, predator cages, but it was all twisted, like someone had copied her memories and perverted them. The corridors pulsed with artificial gravity. Surveillance drones hovered like vultures, and at the center, a single chair. Waiting. When Kira stepped onto the central platform, lights ignited. A projection appeared, her own face. Younger, scared, bloodied, crying. You survived by chance, said the AI voice. You inspired weakness. Now you will inspire fear. Suddenly, doors opened across the platform. Phase 1. Emotion assault. Dozens of holographic figures rushed her. Versions of people she'd failed, teachers who dismissed her, bullies who laughed at her robotics work. The system was psychological warfare designed to crush her confidence, but it had one fatal flaw. She knew herself. Wow, she said aloud. You think this breaks me? Have you seen the internet? She flipped a switch on her wristband. a plebeian memory scrambler she'd hacked. The hallucinations shorted out. She walked through them like fog. Phase 2, tactical denial. Corridors folded into themselves, gravity inverted, laser grids activated randomly. The entire arena became a death maze. Her escort team scattered, but Kira, she grinned. She took a metal rod, rewired the floor circuits, and activated maintenance override. "Thank you, galactic bureaucracy," she whispered, hopping over a collapsing platform. "Never change." Phase 3. The arena awakens. The final chamber opened. There was no enemy. There was only a mirror. And in that mirror stood another girl. Her exact copy. Same hair, same freckles, same defiant smirk. "We recreated you," the voice said, "down to the neural pathways, and we've trained her to destroy you. Let the galaxy watch as you're beaten by a better version of yourself." The girl raised her fists. The fight began. Clone versus chaos. Kira blocked the first strike, spun low, and kicked. The clone countered. She wasn't just skilled. She was programmed. But programming has limits. At minute 3, Kira started laughing mid-fight. "You don't improvise, do you?" The clone paused. "You don't laugh. You don't snack. You don't make it up as you go." She threw a wrench, not at the clone, but at the ceiling. It bounced, struck a beam, which triggered a cascade of sparks. The clone flinched. Kira moved in, wrapped her arm around the clone's neck, and whispered, "I'm not the best version of me. I'm just the one who knows the rules don't matter." She activated her wristband. EMP burst. The clone collapsed. Aftermath. They returned to the UNSS Hightower in silence. Reyes stared. "You just be yourself." "No," Kira said. "I beat what they think I am." She turned to the camera feed still broadcasting to 17 systems. She leaned forward and said, "Next time you want to kill me, don't make it so personal. I fight better when I'm annoyed." Somewhere deep in uncharted space, the architects of the arena watched the feed cut off. "She can't be stopped," one whispered. "No," said the Threxel counselor, trembling, "but she can be copied." News of what happened on Vortanis IV didn't just ripple through the galaxy. It detonated across it like a chain reaction of awakening. Kira Madden, age 11, human, female, chaotic neutral, had not only defeated the second arena, she'd broken its core AI, dismantled her own clone, and mocked the creators on a live broadcast to 17 systems. And with that one smirk, she'd done what no weapon or treaty ever could. She made every species watching feel powerful, especially the ones who never had. The fires of rebellion on Thalar Prime, a silicon-based mining race called the Gorn, long believed to be docile and subsentient, staged a planetary walkout. On Julon V6, young Corellians held a protest where every child painted their face with freckles and shouted in unison, "Let the girl play." And on Traskell Station, 6 members of the Zixian High Bureau resigned publicly, citing irreconcilable shame at underestimating a child. The architects of galactic control were losing grip, not just politically, but narratively, because the galaxy didn't want fear anymore. They wanted Kira. A council fractured back in the secure chambers of the Interspecies Council, chaos reigned. "She has become a symbol of rebellion," roared the lithoid ambassador, slamming a crystalline fist onto the table. "Even my hatchlings are trying to smile like Kira. It's becoming an ideological plague." "She is a threat to order," screeched the Zilani envoy. "She doesn't just break systems, she invents better ones on the fly. We must act to end this." But the plebeian representative, normally a gelatinous appeaser, rippled forward. "No," it said, "we must listen." The room fell quiet, and in the silence they realized the awful truth. Kira hadn't started a rebellion. They had. She'd just given it a face. The message from Earth. In orbit above Jupiter's third moon, Kira stood aboard UNSS Hightower 2, reviewing intercepted transmissions. She looked tired, older maybe. Not in her face, she was still a kid, but in her eyes. She understood now. They were never just trying to kill her. They were trying to control the idea of her. Too late. She looked at the message sent from Traskell. The girl is a virus of autonomy. Contain her or prepare for collapse. She copied it, forwarded it, to every system in open comms range, with a caption, "I prefer inspiration, but okay." Recruiting the unseen. Back on Earth, a hidden message arrived at a Detroit scrapyard. It was encoded in a toy robot's eye, a discarded surveillance droid that shouldn't have been able to record anything anymore. The message contained a list, names, coordinates, all over the galaxy. Children, other kids like Kira, smart, strange, overlooked, overwhelming. Earth intelligence had been cataloging them since the arena victory, but now Kira had the list. "They're not trying to destroy me anymore," she said, handing the tablet to Commander Reyes. "They're trying to erase anyone like me." Reyes blinked. "What do you want to do?" Kira grinned. "We're going to find them." Building the unexpected within 3 weeks, Kira had hijacked an entire section of the asteroid belt engineering zone and turned it into what she called a starter pack rebellion base. The nameplate over the docking bay said, "The Smile Project." Inside were children, human and alien, tinkering with tech, designing weird gadgets, and painting murals of Kronos wolves wearing birthday hats. There were no adults allowed past the orange line. "Adults think in rules," she said. "We think in possibilities." Among the recruits, Tarl, a Nocturnian phase leaper who learned to make invisible drones. Zeki, a two-eyed lithoid who painted tactical schematics with music. Sasha, a human from Kazakhstan who built a stasis field out of kitchen parts. Each child underestimated, each one angry in their own quiet way. And together, they were building something the galaxy had never seen before. Enter the Enforcers. But of course, power never fades without a fight. The Krelvac warlords, embarrassed by their failure at Vortanis, had created a special team. No AI, no monsters, just pure, cold-blooded killers. The Enforcers of Hierarchy. 12 beings, each designed to destroy what Kira represented. Trained to infiltrate. To mimic children, to shatter movements from within. They called it Project Mirror. Their first target, Smile Base. The final broadcast. In the dark of space, Kira stood before a transmission terminal. She had learned by now that war wasn't about weapons, it was about stories. And hers was getting rewritten without her. She opened a broadcast, her voice carried to over 31 systems. "They're coming again. But not just for me this time, for all of us. The ones who think too much, talk too loud, dream too weird. The ones who don't follow instructions. So this time, I'm not surviving, I'm leading." The Enforcers arrived silently. No broadcast, no demands, no monologues. Just 12 dark ships cutting across space like blades, heading straight for the asteroid cluster where Smile Base was hidden among the debris of a long-dead mining project. They weren't here to fight a battle. They were here to end a story. Kira's story. Inside Smile Base. The base wasn't quiet. It was alive. Kids from 6 different species moved through the cavernous hangar like an orchestrated storm. Makeshift satellites rotated on scrap-built arms. Holographic strategy tables flickered under hands too small for military gloves. Kira stood at the center, surrounded by a circle of her recruits. "I want you all to listen very carefully," she said. "If you're scared, good. Me too. If you're not, you're probably not paying attention." Chuckles rippled through the circle. Kira tapped the portable console she wore like a bracelet. It projected a 3D map of the base's outer defense ring. They think we're kids with toys, so let's make them regret bringing real weapons. The first strike. The enforcers moved with terrifying precision. Each one designed for infiltration, termination, or psychological disruption. They had memorized Kira's original arena footage down to every breath. She was not just their target, she was their template. They breached the outer defense grid in under a minute. Then, they hit the traps. Tarl's phase-split corridor sent 2 enforcers into infinite hallways. Zaki's harmonic disruption fields made another forget what gravity was. Sasha's magnetic mines shredded one to pieces, using just junk and coffee cans. And Kira? She watched. Not from a command seat, but on foot, patrolling with her own small squad of tech-savvy kids, wrench in hand, lollipop in mouth. "Still think we're the warm-up act?" she whispered into the comms. Mirror Kira returns, but then came the 12th enforcer. The one they hadn't seen in the scans. It looked like Kira, exactly like her. Only colder, paler, eyes too calm. "You are not a symbol," the clone said, stepping into the central bay. "You are a glitch in their system. I was made to correct you." "You're not me," Kira said, backing toward the core reactor. "I am the version of you they trust. Programmed, efficient, predictable. That's the problem." The final standoff. They clashed beneath the fusion rings of the main engine. No weapons, just knowledge. The clone predicted every move Kira made. Until Kira stopped moving, she stood still, closed her eyes. "Why are you hesitating?" the clone demanded. Kira opened one eye. "You don't improvise." She ducked as the ceiling above exploded, triggered by a delayed hack Sasha had slipped into the reactor code. A steel beam crushed the clone's right arm. Kira pounced, ripped the MP band from her wrist, and slammed it into the clone's chest. A moment of silence. Then static, and the clone fell. The aftershock, the enforcers failed. All 12 neutralized by children armed with candy, code, and coordinated chaos. And when the footage went public, because of course Kira had been streaming it to every major system, the interspecies uprising officially began. On Veraxis, miners overthrew their regents. On Zoran III, a student council declared independence and was recognized by 12 nations. On Zelthorn Station, an ambassador was forced to resign after their own child asked, "Why don't we have a smile base?" The call for peace. In the aftermath, Kira received a message directly from the Galactic Concord's Emergency Council. "We offer ceasefire, autonomy, recognition." Kira, sitting on the edge of her bunk eating freeze-dried peaches, shrugged. "I don't want a seat at the table," she said aloud. "I want new tables." She typed a reply, "Let's build something better." Legacy. A year later, Smile Base became a system-wide youth alliance called the Coalition of the Unseen, run by children, guided by the idea that chaos, kindness, and creativity were more powerful than force. The arenas were shut down. The Enforcer program dismantled. The word Kira became a verb in 6 alien languages. "Don't Kira that system up," meaning do not accidentally cause a revolution by inspiring hope. And the girl? She kept building, still smiling, still dangerous, because while wars could be won with weapons, she'd proven they could also be won with candy, jokes, and impossible ideas.